When Picklewheat first climbed aboard Troy Landry's boat, few could have predicted what was coming. Young, petite, and carrying a pink gun case, she looked more like a visitor than a future legend of the bayou. But the swamp doesn't care about appearances, and neither did Pickle. What came next was a whirlwind of monster gators, brutal hurricanes, near-death encounters, and more than a few jaw-dropping moments. She quickly proved she wasn't just along for the ride, but just as she was becoming the face of the swamp, something shifted. Suddenly, fans were all asking the same thing. What really happened to Picklewheat? To understand that, we have to go back to where it all began. Picklewheat, born Cheyenne Nicole Wheat on September 21st, 1995, in Poydras, St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana, isn't just any gator hunter, she's the real deal, coming from a long, proud line of hunters. As a fourth-generation alligator hunter, the marshes, swamps, and bayous of Louisiana weren't just scenery, they were her playground. What makes her background even more unique is her Isleño heritage. The Isleños are descendants of settlers from the Canary Islands who arrived in Louisiana in the 1700s, bringing with them their own language, culture, and deep-rooted knowledge of the outdoors. That legacy still pulses through the region today, shaping families like Pickle's. Raised in a tight-knit, outdoors-loving family, Pickle grew up alongside her brother Cody, sharing a deep-rooted passion for the wild passed down by their parents, Eddie and Missy Wheat. From an early age, she was surrounded by the traditions of hunting, self-reliance, and life in the great outdoors. One photo from her childhood says it all. Baby Pickle, cradled in a family member's arms after a successful duck hunt, already part of the action. The caption joked it was her first youth hunt, and from that moment on, she was all in. Much of what Pickle knows today was handed down from her father and grandfather, skills honed through generations of hunting gators, ducks, and turkeys. Her grandfather, affectionately known as Pop, wasn't just a seasoned outdoorsman. He was also a gifted machinist and knife maker, admired for his craftsmanship. Pickle once called him the heart and soul of their work, saying he was the reason they follow the grain, a phrase that speaks to both his artistry and the family values he instilled. Pickle's journey from family hunter to television personality began in Season 12 of Swamp People. Her family's long-standing connections with veteran cast members like Ronnie Adams and Troy Landry helped open the door. According to Pickle, Troy quickly became like a second father to her, and when producers went searching for fresh talent, they were drawn to her authenticity and fearless energy. She'd been around gators all her life, but Swamp People gave her the stage to truly show what she was made of. Season 12 of Swamp People kicked off with a serious problem: an explosion in the alligator population. With more gators competing for less food, things turned aggressive fast. These hungry reptiles weren't just lurking in the bayous anymore. They were starting to creep into nearby neighborhoods in search of their next meal. That meant only one thing: it was time for a major culling effort. At the center of this mission was Troy Landry, famously known as the King of the Swamp. He was handed 500 tags, an enormous responsibility by any standard. With 3 teams at the ready, Troy was still short one deckhand after his usual partner stepped away. But he wasn't heading out alone. Stepping into the spotlight was Pickle, who would soon prove she was anything but a rookie. Pickle didn't exactly fit the stereotypical image of a gator hunter. In fact, Troy even joked she looked like she should still be in grade school. But while she might have looked young and petite, she brought some serious grit to the boat. At just 25, she had plenty to prove, and she was more than ready to do it. On her very first day, Pickle made it clear she respected the work and was eager to pull her weight. Troy quickly took a liking to her, calling her everything from Shorty to Cinderella, but never doubting her abilities. Their chemistry was instant. Light-hearted banter, mutual respect, and a shared determination to get the job done. She even started calling him Papa Troy, and the nickname stuck. That first day on the water saw Pickle helping land an enormous 11-foot alligator. With her pink gun case in tow, she remained cool under pressure, handling the action like a seasoned veteran. It wasn't just a lucky break. It was the first sign of a pattern that would define her season. Over the next few episodes, Pickle faced increasingly tough situations. One of the most memorable came when she and Troy set out to catch a legendary gator known as Freight Train, a massive beast infamous throughout the region. Their chase led them through thick terrain and unknown waters, testing their endurance and teamwork. But in the end, they bagged the monster, with Pickle proving once again that she could keep calm in even the most intense situations. Later in the season, Troy took Pickle deep into an untouched part of the swamp, nicknamed the Nursery, where they believed large female gators were breeding. They had just one day to fill all their tags, so every catch mattered. The swamp was overgrown and dangerous, the gators more aggressive than ever, but Pickle remained sharp and focused. She watched the water with eagle eyes while Troy scouted the banks, ready for any sudden movement. One of their first catches of the day, a particularly aggressive female, set the tone for what would become a grueling hunt. Tangled lines, unpredictable gators, and physical exhaustion pushed them to the limit. But together, they pulled in an 8-foot, 450-pound female, and later, a massive 550-pound gator, the biggest catch of the day. That episode marked a turning point. Pickle wasn't just proving her strength, she was showing she had the leadership skills to match. By the midpoint of the season, Troy handed her the reins for the very first time, putting her in charge as captain. It was a huge moment, a clear sign that she had earned his trust and respect. As the season moved toward its final stretch, Pickle faced two very different challenges. In the episode Firepower, she joined a high-volume harvest mission on Cow Island, dealing with rapid-fire line pulls and gator tags in some of the tightest, roughest waters. Then came Gators on Ice, when an unexpected cold front rolled through southern Louisiana. The sudden drop in temperature slowed the gators down and changed their behavior completely. Pickle adapted on the fly, adjusting bait placement and moving lines into warmer, shallow waters. Her deep understanding of reptile behavior helped the team make smart calls that paid off in a big way. By the time Swamp People Season 13 hit the screen, it wasn't calm waters the cast faced. It was pure chaos. Hurricane Ida, a powerful Category 4 storm, was barreling toward Louisiana, threatening to wipe out the gator hunting season before it even had a chance to start. With less than 48 hours before landfall, Pickle joined forces with Troy Landry for a high-pressure race against time. Their mission was clear: fill as many tags as they could before the storm made hunting impossible. From the get-go, Pickle was a force of nature herself. She moved fast, helping Troy hit line after line with precision and determination. Together, they pulled in some absolute monsters, 2 11-footers and another massive 10-footer. As the storm clouds grew darker and the pressure mounted, Pickle didn't waver. She untangled lines, steadied the boat, and helped secure every gator with grit and focus. The season was barely underway, and already they were pushing themselves to the limit. One of the most unforgettable early moments came when they encountered a tree shaker, a particularly aggressive gator thrashing through thick vegetation. Pickle held her nerve, staying calm during the takedown and helping ensure a clean shot that got the gator safely into the boat. As wind and rain began to roll in, they kept pressing forward. Despite the deteriorating conditions, they managed to pack the boat full before finally calling it a day. It was a chaotic but wildly successful start to what would become one of the season's most intense stretches. Later in the season, things took an unexpected turn when Troy decided to mix things up and handed over the captain's chair to Pickle. She was excited to take the lead, driving the boat, running the motor, even plotting the course. At first, everything went smoothly. She even helped land another impressive 11-foot gator. But it didn't take long before tensions rose. Troy jokingly rated her deckhand skills pretty low, while Pickle fired back that he was being overly critical as her first mate. The role reversal tested their usually seamless teamwork. They argued over directions, boat positioning, and who was really in control of the motor. Still, Pickle powered through and helped haul in several big gators, including a hefty 9-footer. Eventually, she admitted she was more comfortable in her usual role and handed the reins back to Troy. By the episode's end, both had a newfound respect for the other's job, proving once again that their dynamic worked best when each played to their strengths. The season also took viewers on a wild ride during a full moon night hunt. Pickle, who admitted she gets creeped out by full moons, teamed up with Troy once again. From the start, she seemed a little off her game, distracted by superstition and rattled nerves. The night took a frightening turn when her gun jammed just as they were closing in on a gator. She was unarmed and suddenly in serious danger. At one point, she lost her balance and fell directly into the water, landing practically on top of a gator. The reptile was tangled in lines and swimming between her legs. As the gator thrashed, Pickle found herself wrapped up in line, unable to escape. Later, she described it as one of the most terrifying experiences of her life. What made it even more intense was the look on Troy's face: fear. Pickle didn't feel scared until she saw just how concerned he was. And when the king of the swamp himself is shaken, it's enough to make anyone's blood run cold. Despite the chaos, they quickly regained control. Someone handed Pickle a gun, and she delivered a clean shot. It was over in an instant, but the adrenaline lingered. Later that night, the unease only grew. Pickle accidentally dropped her gun in the water and had to fish it out. A small moment, but one that seemed to confirm what she already felt deep down. The full moon had cursed the hunt. On the surface, she stayed composed, tough, focused, and determined. But inside, she was drained. Frustration, fatigue, and a sense of disorientation followed her through the rest of the night. By the time it was over, she made one thing clear: she'd never hunt under a full moon again. Away from the swamps, though, life was shifting in a very different direction. Pickle had recently met Joshua Kippis, an emergency medical technician with no background in hunting, but an unwavering respect for her world. Joshua had been married before and had a child from that relationship, someone Pickle embraced with open arms. She poured her heart into their new blended family, and in November 2022, the couple announced they were expecting their first child together. Pickle shared her pregnancy journey with fans through stunning, heartfelt photos. One particularly memorable image showed her in jeans and a white bra, gently holding her baby bump on International Women's Day. Another beautifully captured her Louisiana roots, with Pickle barefoot in a flowing lace gown, standing by a bayou under a canopy of trees. On April 25, 2023, their daughter, Memi Ray, was born, measuring 19 inches and weighing just over 6 pounds. The news marked a joyful milestone in Cheyenne's life, blending her fierce swamp spirit with a tender new role, motherhood. However, just months after welcoming her daughter, Memi Ray, Pickle was back on the boat for season 15, ready to face the wild all over again. She reunited with Troy Landry, and together they set their sights on a jaw-dropping goal: 100 gators in one day. The heat was punishing, and the challenge immense. While they didn't quite reach the century mark, finishing the day with 80 gators was no small feat. Pickle was a key player in that effort. She personally wrangled in 41 of those beasts, setting the tone for their grueling 900-tag season. Even when the exhaustion started to show behind the scenes, Pickle never let it slow her down. Troy openly admitted he wasn't sure what to expect from her after she became a mom, but any doubts vanished quickly. She proved to be as tough, dependable, and relentless as ever. Off camera, she might confess her knees were about to give out, but to Troy, she was still rock solid, a partner he could count on. Later, under the glow of a full Louisiana moon, the swamp took on an eerie edge. Things were far from calm. Pickle and Troy were on the trail of a rare and unsettling threat, a cannibal gator attacking others on their lines. As always, Pickle's instincts kicked in. They tracked the predator through a tense night filled with close calls and false alarms. At one point, she missed a critical shot, nearly costing them a massive catch. But Pickle doesn't give up that easy. When they finally cornered the monster, it turned into an all-out battle. The gator thrashed and fought like something straight out of a horror movie. But with sheer grit and pinpoint timing, Pickle made the shot that ended the fight. The beast stretched nearly 12 feet, and when they opened its mouth, they found parts of another gator inside. It was a wild and unforgettable moment. And with one quick quip, "No more swimming in the moonlight for you," Pickle brought that full moon nightmare to an end. As season 16 rolled in, meteorologists issued serious warnings. It was shaping up to be one of the most active hurricane seasons in years. Troy Landry wasted no time, pushing hard from day one. He set a firm goal: 20 gators a day per boat. And Pickle was right there with him, ready to tackle the challenge. Their first hunt took them to Grand Lake in the pouring rain. Conditions were rough, but Pickle kept everything running like clockwork. She spotted line movement early, helped land some massive gators, and handled every close call with calm precision. Despite tangled lines, slick surfaces, and high-stakes moments, she matched Troy's demanding pace, step for step. By the end of the day, they hit that 20-gator mark, and the last one, so huge it needed a winch, came aboard just as storm clouds rolled in. Then came Hurricane Francine. With the storm bearing down on the Louisiana coast, Pickle and Troy launched into a high-stakes mission in Lake Fosse Point. Every second counted. Pickle's steady hand and focused energy kept the operation moving fast. Even under looming storm clouds, she helped haul in gators with flawless execution, showing once again why she's a vital force on Troy's team. As the storm crept closer, their efforts shifted to Pierre Part for one final urgent hunt. They were still facing over 700 tags, and time was slipping away. But Pickle stayed laser-focused. She helped land several massive gators, including one so strong it towed their boat, and another so heavy they had to winch it in. With winds picking up and visibility dropping, she kept the lines moving, pulling in an 11-footer and then a 10-footer before the weather turned dangerous. Once the lines were cleared, Pickle's priorities changed. With memories of Hurricane Katrina still fresh in her mind, she knew it was time to get her family to safety. She made the call to evacuate, putting her baby and her mom first. It was a decision that showed the full depth of who Pickle is, fearless in the field, but fiercely protective of her loved ones. And just as Troy and Chase were back out on the water at sunrise, Pickle was taking a rare step away from the swamp. This time, it wasn't about the hunt, it was her wedding day. On September 21st, 2024, Pickle and Joshua Kippis tied the knot in a heartfelt outdoor ceremony along the banks of Louisiana's Belle River. This wasn't just a picturesque spot, it was a place rich with meaning for Pickle. Framed by oak trees draped in Spanish moss, the couple said their vows beneath a wooden arch decorated with soft pink and white fabric, the quiet current of the river flowing behind them. It was a setting that reflected both her roots and her heart. After the ceremony, Pickle called it one of the most emotional moments of her life, right alongside the birth of her daughter. It was everything she had hoped for, intimate, joyful, and deeply personal, wrapped in the natural beauty of the swamp she calls home. Just weeks after the wedding, the couple had more joyful news to share. They were expecting their second child. In October, Pickle made the announcement via a playful Instagram video filmed during a hunting trip. She joked about the struggle of finding gear to fit her growing 14-week bump, and fans couldn't get enough of her candid, funny updates. Later that same month, she posted another lighthearted clip showing herself out in the wild, snacking and laughing about pregnancy cravings. Her excitement was obvious, even as they kept the baby's gender under wraps for the time being. Then, on April 4th, 2025, Pickle finally revealed that their second child had arrived, and it was a boy. She posted a heartwarming video filled with glimpses of her pregnancy journey and the first moments with their newborn son, Casey. The announcement was met with an outpouring of love from fans, many of whom congratulated the couple and joked that baby Casey would be an alligator hunter in no time. Though she didn't share the exact birth date, Pickle later gave fans a humorous look at how her husband prepared for their son's arrival. In one video, while the History Channel crew was busy organizing essentials like the diaper bag and car seat, Joshua was shown casually mowing the lawn, trying on shoes, and admiring plants at the store, a hilarious and relatable peek into parenthood. Despite everything on her plate, Pickle has remained committed to her health and fitness. Known for her active lifestyle, she jumped right back into training after giving birth, sharing inspiring updates and flexing her muscles in postpartum progress photos. One standout post featured a flexed upper body shot with a confident caption, "My first summer in a one-piece, but mama still got them guns though." By May, she was already back to pushing her endurance in preparation for the upcoming alligator season. In one video, she's visibly winded but determined, joking, "Just a mama over here trying to get in shape for alligator season. Can't wait to be back in the boat." It was clear, the swamp was calling, and she was more than ready to answer.